Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Welcome, ahlan wa sahlan. Welcome, my friends. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day, enjoying yourselves. My name is Liaquat Zaman. Let me just go on Instagram as well. Click it there. Like I said, ahlan wa sahlan. Welcome. Fridays again. Week has gone so fast, and alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, this week has been a very nice, productive week for me. Not as productive as it could have been, but alhamdulillah, I managed to, because this week basically was my reading week. So I dedicated this week to preparation for my dua course. So if any of you guys are not familiar, I've got a dua course that is coming up, inshallah, where I'll be talking about the concept of du'as in the Quran, commonly asked questions regarding du'as, famous companions who the Prophet ﷺ made du'a for. So I've been actually going through this course, and I've actually found about so far just over 80 Sahaba who the Prophet ﷺ made a du'a for, like a specific du'a. So you might have heard some of the Sahaba, but I managed to find over 80. And I definitely think there's much more. I just have to keep scouring through the books. So alhamdulillah, I managed to get through some books. And inshallah, I'll be talking about those books that I've read through as well, so that you guys, if anyone is interested in reading those kind of books, then inshallah, you guys can benefit from them as well. Yeah, because it's all good me reading the books, but then you guys not benefiting from them. So inshallah, the course is going to be on the 11th of March. Inshallah, it will be online and on site as well. So for those who want to do online, you can join online. I will not be hosting the course on my YouTube channel. It's gonna have to be through As-Sufa Institute. So you have to check out As-Sufa Institute, inshallah. There you are gonna find the course over there. So make sure you check out if anyone else is interested. Inshallah, it's gonna be very beneficial, inshallah, because I've done a lot of reading for this course. And I haven't done like this kind of reading for a while, I would say. Yeah. So I like when I'm preparing for a course, I like doing lots and lots of reading. Like really try to like squeeze out all the information I can from each book, although it doesn't sound really nice and polite. But yeah, that's what I try and do. So I try to grasp the whole concept myself and then see how I can present it to you guys, inshallah. So hopefully, inshallah, that course will be ready. I'm still got a lot of reading left to do. I'm kind of like putting it all together. In fact, what I'm thinking is, if I sort of like, when I'm writing up my notes, if I start to put some notes separately, like subdivide my notes, so that later on, if I want to write a book on something, so maybe I can write a book on all those people the Prophet ﷺ made dua for. I can actually dedicate a book just to that, where I can go through. I think that might be, uh, yeah, that might be a good idea. Or for example, like famous du'as the Prophet ﷺ made, yeah, throughout his life, famous du'as and their significance, their importance. That might be another possibly a good book that I could start working on. I don't know. I'm thinking. So this is the ideas that I get when I do reading. Let me tell you guys here. When I do reading, what I tend to find is, if I in my head have some sort of like pre-understood notions that I want to sort of like focus on, or concepts, then that helps me to focus my reading. And sometimes what happens is, whilst I'm reading through the books, I might sort of like get another idea. Oh, you know what? I can actually start, because like I might read something really interesting, and then I might think to myself, you know what, Liaquat, maybe you should write about this. So I'll make a little note on the side, and so even if I don't get to write about it, at least I can tell other people that this is a good idea. I would find this is something very good. Anyway, let's see what happens. Inshallah, maybe it could be a book, because nowadays a lot of people you can publish books easily now on Amazon and these online platforms. So I'll see how it goes, inshallah ta'ala. This is my tea for today, guys. As you can see, it's a very leafy tea, very leafy from Turkey. You can see the leaves falling to look at that, like autumn. Yeah, falling down to the bottom. Yeah, this is my tea for today. All you guys on Instagram can see it as well. Right, let's check you guys out then. Wa alaikum assalam, my brother Masir Ali. Wa alaikum assalam. كيف الحال يا أمريكي? आप कैसे हैं? मैं بخير हूँ. मैं ठीक हूँ, मेरे भाई. وسارة وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. ديوبندس أهلا وسهلا وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. Ibn Adam وعليكم السلام. Saqib وعليكم السلام. If someone finds fiances doesn't wear hijab properly, is it the husband's duty to keep telling her? Fiancés. So if he's not married to her, you can't tell her anything, can he? But you know, a husband should advise her nicely. Yeah, should advise her. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ahlan wa sahlan. Ibn Adam, is there a good dua book we can read throughout the week? A good book that I would say, which is very nice, is Hizb al-A'zam. It's like divided into days. Mullah Ali Qari wrote it, so it's divided into days. Monday you can read like certain dua. It takes about 20 minutes or so, I would say, if you read at a good pace to finish each. And it's like a very comprehensive, lots of du'as in there, and for different days, like different types of du'as. Hizb al-A'zam. When praying seated on a plane, how does one lower one's head in ruku, and how does one like this, like that? So there's no specific limit you have to go down to. You just have to show that your head is going down. That's all. Naweed wa alaikum assalam. Is there an answer book PDF of the book The Treasure of Arabic Morphology? I have not come across one. S Khan wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I hope you are. I am very good. Thank you very much. Jazakumullah khair, S Khan, for this beautiful book. I was reading through this book, and inshallah, I am going to do a series on this book. This book is not necessarily a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ book, although it's called Hadith Qudsi, because these hadith, like a lot of them, do not even exist. I'm going to search for all of them. But what he's done is, he seems as though he's taken the concept. So it's more like taken the themes, concepts from Islam, and then he's kind of like packaged that. So it's very nice. It's very filled with adab. Yeah. So inshallah, I'll be doing a series on this. Yeah, I'll be doing a series soon, inshallah, on this. Yeah. So this actually requires me to do like a lot of explanation, like a lot of sort of like. So I'm gonna see how well that's gonna be then, because each so maw'id, they call them maw'idas. There's about 40 maw'idas. So each maw'ida is at least half a page long, if not more. So there's lots of like ideas and their concepts that require to be opened up. So I'm thinking, how am I going to deliver that? I might do it in a similar way that I used to do the Siyar wa Akhlaq. Remember Ibn Hazm's book, Siyar wa Akhlaq, in a similar fashion, maybe. Like me sitting here and then maybe having on the screen the writing and then just explaining like that. What do you think? Pentry, where does one put one's hands in ruku and sujood tashahhud when seated on kneecaps? Yeah, either, it doesn't matter. Like, there's no specific place to put them. You could put them on the knees, you could put them on the kneecaps, you could put them on the thighs. Fine. माशाअल्लाह. मसीर भाई, ये किताबें हैं, नींबू नहीं. हाँ, सही बात, बिल्कुल बिल्कुल, ये आपकी बात बिल्कुल सही है. और ये नींबू की तरह खट्टा नहीं है. खटास, इसमें खटास नहीं है. Also, I read something that for Jum'ah, no Muslim can be barred from joining the Friday prayer, otherwise it's invalid. In a mosque near my house, they may close the doors if the masjid is full. Yes, that's fine, because that's a reason, health and safety. That's fine. Though there is room for people outside doors. Yeah, so that would be permissible. If a person was to follow from outside, the salat would be fine. Does one assume it's okay in the Imam's madhab? Yes, that would be a permissible, valid reason. What book, religion, kitab about story Imam recommended, Sheikh, mashallah? The Quran, my brother. Masir Ali, can you explain to me the whole significance or reason or hikmah of only mourning for 3 days? Are we only allowed to cry, grieve for 3 days? How does this work? So basically, what the Prophet ﷺ said was that when someone passes away, then for 3 days you mourn the person, and you shouldn't go beyond 3 days. What the idea is, everyone who has a beloved has passed away, naturally the mind, the heart, a person has to take it all in, right? So it's going to be a shock to that person. Person is going to have a lot of sort of like you can say sadness, emotions inside of them built up. So usually 3 days should be sufficient. This 3 days, we don't know why exactly 72 hours. This seems to be something which is from Allah, right? It's called Amr Ta'abudi. So we just stick to that 3 days. Clearly, maybe in the future, scientists will find out that in 3 days something happens in the brain or something. We don't know. But there might be something like that. That could be the hikmah behind this. And usually 3 days is a significant amount of time for a person to be able to overcome their emotions, usually. It doesn't mean that you can't mourn more than 3 days. Naturally, some people are going to be sad after 3 days, after a month, after 2 months. Yeah, so it's going to take different times for different people. But the point is, you don't make it an official, like official gathering of people mourning should only be for 3 days. It should not be prolonged. Does that make sense? Because this can be abused as well. Like some people might think they have the right to be mourned over for months, and then it just creates stagnancy in people's life. People cannot continue with their work and everything because you're expected to mourn for this period of time. What's the ruling on using filters on photography for portraits? Filters that can change the lighting or make the skin a person. It's permissible, but these kind of things, I would say, if it's there for deception, people should not use them. Yeah, deceiving someone, um, and generally, people should not use these kind of things if it's going to be for that particular thing, because this can become like a mental illness as well, where people are ashamed of showing their own face, and they're just like pressured into appearing in some. I don't know. What do you guys think? That's my thoughts. Uthman, wa alaikum assalam. Say first 2 years alim. People waste time, and if you fix nahu and sarf, then you skip 2 years. I'm quite old and in hifz. Inshallah, maybe done in 2 years. What can I do during hifz for alim? Learn Arabic. So whilst you're doing hifz, you can start learning Arabic. 100%. Yeah, you start learning Arabic, you will improve a lot. Yeah, you will have an advantage before you start the alim course. Okay. Umar wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I hope you are well. I'm very well. Umar 0121. My bro 0121. Umar, what should the Imam do when he breaks wudu when he has one muqtadi? How can a sister do wudu in public? Okay, so what does the Imam do when he breaks Imam when he breaks the wudu, he goes, performs wudu, and then comes back and he should restart the salat again. Yeah, because there was only one person with him. So therefore, the other person would have to restart their salat again. How can a sister do wudu in public if there's fear of non-mahram seeing her? So what she can do is try to. I mean, it's very easy to be able to cover yourself. You can go into an area in a corner, and then all you have to do is just wash your limbs. I mean, I find it difficult that it would be too hard for someone to do wudu without. You can use a water spray as well. So you get a little spray bottle, yeah, with water, and then you just spray your limbs and let the water drip off and wipe them. Yeah, that will be counted as washing as well. I've actually made a video on this about spray wudu. If you go on my YouTube channel, wudu, do I have a wudu? Yeah, using a spray. It's actually I show you how this is done, and this can be very, very discreet. Yeah, using spray bottle for wudu. Right, next. Do you know a source article or video on how to pray when traveling that gathers everything I need to know? Brother, look, Pentry, don't be upset yet, but you're overthinking this. You are simply overthinking this. You do not need to know all the details. All you have to know is how do you pray when you are seated? That's all you have to know. Yeah, that's all you have to. If there's anything so specific to do, for example, like Zohar Salat is reduced to 2, then that's all you have to do. There's nothing special you pray when you're on a traveler. It's exactly the same when you're at home. No difference at all. Yeah. The only thing that I would say, I've actually got a video on traveler prayers. So traveler, let's see. But I think Pentry, I think sometimes someone can easily overthink things and make things very complicated for themselves. You don't want to end up being like that kind of person who overthinks things. Overthinking is not good. Yeah, our religion is very easy. It's very simple, straightforward. Yeah, so traveling prayers. Like I said, there's no offense to you. It's just generally, I see sometimes people ask questions, but they ask the same question in different angles. It's like they're not satisfied with. And the deen is very easy. Sahaba, very simple. You go on a journey. If it's Zuhr, Asr, Isha, you just pray 2 rakats. Sunnahs, you don't have to pray sunnahs. And that's it. What will be the ruling for someone who doesn't believe in witchcraft, magic, and evil eye? I know a friend who is a Muslim but doesn't believe. I mean, they're fine. They're Muslims. Yeah. Like Imam Quduri, in fact, famous Imam Quduri doesn't believe witchcraft has any. So when you say witchcraft, you mean does it have any effect? Can it really kind of have an effect on someone? So this is not a thing which will take a person out of Islam, right? There are many scholars who didn't accept this, and many scholars. I mean, I am on the position that witchcraft does have some sort of a effect on a person. Are trails allowed for women which attach to their dresses? Yes. What do you think about life is test from Allah? True, my brother. S Khan. Mufti Sahib, there is hams and a gunna in Urdu, which many Pathan and English speakers miss and change the meaning of a word, such as katta and khat. Yeah, that's true. I do that a lot. Yeah. So that is exactly what I do. I break the rules of tajweed in Urdu. Can I use the power outlet in the library without asking permission? How can I tell what is waswasa? So you can ask them. So generally, I haven't been to a library for a very long time, but I assume they would allow it. I assume in libraries they would allow these things. Just ask them. I mean, if you're an introvert, you're scared of asking them, you're shy. Try to get someone else to ask. Go online and ask. But yeah, generally, I would say it's fine. Seem like a public place. How can I tell what is waswasa and what is actually caution of people's rights? What I would say is this: look, if you are thinking this is waswasa, that means you are suffering from waswasa. If you are thinking this is waswasa, that means you have an element of waswasa. That's why you're asking these kind of questions, right? So again, this would be something I would say. Generally, people who suffer from waswasa should not indulge in these thoughts. Just cut the thoughts out. Just cut it out. That's the only cure for waswasa. You have to just nip it at the bud, like they say. Okay, all right. So, Bima alaikum assalam. Ahla wa sahla. Not feeling too well. May Allah give you shifa. Guys, make dua for our brother Bima. Bima not feeling very well. Allah give you shifa kamil on this beautiful day of Jum'ah. And today was feeling poorly. When I went to masjid, my mind was not with it. I prayed 4 rakat sunnah before adhan. I don't know what was doing through my mind. I did pray again. Yeah, subhanAllah. Allah, no problem, my brother. Allah knows your situation. Inshallah, Allah will accept. In public place like park, can women pray sitting without excuse and then repeat prayer after going back home or to the masjid? Why do they need to do that for? Why they should pray properly? There should be no reason for why a woman has to sit down if there is ease to pray. What is the reason? Jazakallah khair. But when sister is doing wudu in public, isn't it risky for her to remove her hijab? So she doesn't have to remove her hijab. She's simply for masa. She just has to put her hand inside of a scarf and just touch her scarf. So I'm sure many women here know how to do wudu with the hijab on. Wa alaikum assalam, Ahmad. One of the forms of kafara of fasting is feeding 60 miskin. Who qualifies as miskin? So anyone who can take zakat, basically. Anyone who can receive zakat is a miskin. Is it permissible to maintain, as in the poor person who can receive zakat, that person? Is it permissible to maintain ties of kinship only through phone to avoid potential free mixing and ghiba that relatives times do? Possibly. Sounds like a good idea. Can you do a video on Amr bil Mahruf and Nahi and Munkar? Allah, I need to get like a baseball bat. Amr bil Mahruf and Nahi and Munkar is a big topic. Possibly. I mean, let me write that down. Yeah, Amr bil Mahruf. So it's a very big topic. It requires discussing lots of aspects. Yeah, so Amr bil Ma'ruf, etc. Yeah, possibly. It requires like a lot of detail, I would say. It's not just as simple as just saying if you see something bad, you have to speak up against it. There's a lot of nuances in there as well, like from the leaders and from people who are in the household, the head of households and the head of communities, and then friends. So excuse me, you've been reading a book, MashaAllah. Muddathir wa alaikum assalam. Brother, I have overthinking problem. How to get rid of it? So what you need to do, my brother, is look, you need to have good, healthy company. If you're a person that sits and you only communicate most of your time, you only communicate through your phone to people, That's not healthy. I mean, I'm not an expert on this, but I've seen it myself, experienced it with myself, with others. You need to physically sit with people, physically be with people, physically be with pious people, good people, and and mix with them. There's a natural thing when two people connect physically with each other. There's a natural thing that happens in your body, in your mind, that that helps you maintain this balance. But a lot of people I've seen, people are very introvert people, and they only like communicating through text messaging or through through devices. A lot of them, they overthink things, I've seen. And I don't know what's the sort of like treatment for that, but this is my observations on it, all I can say. But I would say, yeah, Mudathir, companies have a regular company every week with brothers that you can express yourself with, you can be free with. Maybe like play football with them, sports. Maybe go eat with them. Day for Deen. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hit the like button, guys. Hit the like button. We've actually reached 98,500. 98,500 subscribers. So that means 1,500 left to reach 100,000. It's been a while since I've joined one of your live streams. Ahlan wa sahlan. Day for Deen, mashallah. Long time no see. Long time no see. When Prophet ﷺ said marry for deen, what does this mean? So marry for deen basically means like people go to marry for different reasons, but try to prioritize in the marriage, try to prioritize that the person has some link to Allah. So you might want to look for beauty, you might want to look for wealth, you might want to look for other things, but one of the most important things is deen, yeah, the character that they have that's based in religion, because everything else can fade away. And deen is not really going to fade that easily, right? That's going to stay. So it's like someone saying, for example, the same thing with friendship as well. When you look for friendship, if you want a good healthy friendship, look for friendship of people that are going to motivate you in your religion, help you on your way. This is a general rule, not just for marriage, for anything in life. You want to look for good company. That's the main thing. So that's deen. Masir, how would we define ease for prayer? Like if the floor is muddy, can she pray on a chair? Yeah, so if the floor is muddy, it's raining, it's difficult, then she can pray sitting down, because there your clothes are going to become dirty. So the Hanafis say that over here you can prioritize that, right? So you can actually pray sitting down. But if there's another clear place, or that you can pray later on when it's dry, you can get home, then it's better to pray at home. Aqil Miro, alaikum assalam, my brother Aqil. Pantry, if one works as a web developer and they want you to put a picture of the employees on the company in the about the page, is it permissible to pictures of women without hijab? Yes. In that situation, I would say it would be allowed for you. So isn't magic and witchcraft mentioned in the Quran and evil eye in hadith? What a person not believing it. Yeah, so look, so witchcraft is mentioned, but what does it mean? Ibn Kathir mentions 9 types of application of the meaning of magic. 9 applications, from just like hand trickery to all the way to like really kind of dabbling in the dark arts. So this is why when the Quran says magic, it doesn't necessarily explain, the Quran doesn't explain what it means by magic. That's the thing. So if there is an ikhtilaf, no one does ikhtilaf that the Quran mentions magic. If someone said the Quran does not mention magic, then that person's denying the Quran. But what the Quran is saying is that it's saying sihr, but the interpretation of that sihr. Yeah, just like for example, if someone says in the Quran Allah mentions salat, but then how do you pray that salat? What are the little differences? It would be something like that. Yeah, so this is why, and also they happened to the Prophet. That's why there's an ikhtilaf of to what level it happened to the Prophet. Yeah, so this requires understanding. Ibn Adam, I would say definitely do my Usul Hadith course. Join my Usul Hadith course. You learn more about this concept, how we analyze and measure Hadith. Yeah, so check that out, inshallah. Visited Markazi Masjid Dewsbury. I went many years ago, mashallah. Very nice experience. That's an important topic. And also the whole don't judge me movement, stop, neutralize this nahi and munkar. Yeah, it's true. It's true. I think social media's dynamics have brought a new element to nahi and munkar, amr bil ma'ruf. It's very, very strange. It requires a lot of, research, I would say, because it's not just a straightforward nahi and munkar you can do in the street. You don't know the person behind the screen. You don't know what they're going through. You don't know so many factors. What's the difference between Kuratul Qadam and Al Kuratul Qadam. So Kuratul Qadam is the correct one. Al Kuratul Qadam is incorrect. Yes, mudaf mudaf ilayh. Mudathir. How to deal with spontaneous situations and questions come up in your day life where we have to make decisions in the moment and we don't have time to ask fatwa. So if you are in a situation, you should generally ask scholars. If you're in a situation where you can't and you have to make a decision, then in that case, use your better judgment, use your best judgment, ask your heart whether you think this is right or wrong. Right. And that's how you do. Then later on you go and ask a scholar. Also, please do a course in Mu'amalat, things about how to practice in the West, Khalwa, and to do something Ghiba. Inshallah, I will make a note of that, my brother. If you follow my Kuduri videos, I don't know if you're following them, Pentry, but I am actually at the moment going through Mu'amalat. Yeah, so, Mu'amalat videos. Masir Ali, hello wa sahlan. Technically, magic is a science. So for people who are all sciencey and see magic as something supernatural, they are wrong. Ustad, all respect to all, but I just want to say that the username of Deobandis seems to be a problem. Yeah, I think this is no name. I think Deobandis, that no name that normally turns up. Yeah, no name. فريش برنس وعليكم السلام أهلا وسهلا ما برازر كيف الحال أنا بخير يا أهل صديقي الحبيب الكريم الحمد لله كرة القدم is wrong because it's supposed to be مضاف إليه and a mudaf can never have an al on there. So if you do my Quranic Arabic 17 lessons, you will learn about this inshallah. كيف كان أسبوعك؟ الحمد لله أسبوعي كان جميل جدا جدا جدا. تمتعت. MashaAllah, this tea is very nice, like very, it's like herby tea. This is how I like it, nice and herby. Yum. But the only problem is I don't have a filter on this, so all the bits start going into my mouth. Can you make an initiative with fellow muftis to make a live photo Islamic questions chat service? Yes, there actually is one. If you go to Darul Ifta, I was actually part of one, but then I didn't have time to join them. So Darul Ifta, Leicester, is it called Darul Fiqh? Darul Fiqh. Yeah, Darul Fiqh. So the thing is, brother, you have to remember, scholars are very, very busy. Yeah, very, very, very busy. That's the thing. And so trying to get like questions from them, immediate answers, you're not going to get that. That's why we need more people to actually look. Two things, guys, you need. Don't be upset at scholars if you are not funding scholars, and if you are not yourself, or you're not yourself, or someone else is becoming a scholar. That's what we need in today's time, right? We need funding. We don't get government funding. Scholars do not get government funding. They have to find their own source of income. If you can start providing if you can say, okay, you know what, I'm going to get some guys together. We're going to make a pot of money, and that money is going to go towards supporting a scholar. And that scholar, will give him some ideas of what he can do, project. And then you can start, if every community had that, like if every masjid had a pot that was funding scholars who can take out their time and simply just answer people's questions, have some sort of service like that, that would be such a fantastic thing. But if we're not going to do that, I mean, general public are not going to support them, sponsor them, then who's going to do it? And to say that this is the scholar's duty, that's like saying it's the scholar's duty to answer our questions, but not to pay their bills and not to, provide for their families. That's unfair. So I would say, Pentry, get some friends together, who are willing to contribute. You make a pot in the community, and then if you start that off, other people will start joining, and then that money goes towards supporting scholarly causes. You can have like supporting women scholars. So in the community, women scholars, if women need asking questions, if women need support, there can be a scholar there that's funded. She doesn't have to charge them anything, free of charge for the community, but that fund is now supporting them. And the same with male scholar. I think every masjid should have at least a male scholar and a female scholar that can be contacted, at any time, and they're funded, well funded, right? Like a wage, full wage. I think this is you do this, Pentry, right? I guarantee you a lot of the problems will be solved. Yeah, Alhamdulillah, I can answer your questions because I can take out time, I can do these kind of things, and it's fine for me. But it's obviously I'm only one person, Every community needs to have this kind. This is generally for everyone as well. Start something, honestly. Start something in your community. Start a pot where your funding is purely fund. And in the past, people used to do this. In the past, people who supported the battles of Badr, who supported the battle of Uhud, who supported the battle of Khandaq, wasn't it Sahaba themselves? They themselves used to go home, get money for the battle, and they used to support. And then once the Muslim government became strong, then government was now able to support scholars. Scholars were in every community. Umar radiallahu anhu had stipends for every scholar, yeah, who was teaching, who was, whether it's Quran or whether it's Arabic or whether it's anything. And that's what we need, honestly. And we need more people to actually become scholars. That is such, we are in like a big deficit in regards to scholars. Numbers are dwindling, unfortunately. Every year by year, numbers are dropping for the amount of scholars that we need in the community. Sad, very, very sad situation. And then, unfortunately, if you don't do these two things, you know what's going to happen? What's going to happen is, funky people, cowboys are going to pop up, and cowboys are just going to start answering questions online. Yeah. And when cowboys start answering questions, then that is where you're going to create in the community like jahl, ignorance is going to spread. Yeah, people are going to have a misconstrued understanding of Islam. Either it's going to become too harsh or it's going to become too liberal. Yeah, you won't have the right balance, and that's what you need, unfortunately. And I wish, inshallah, maybe in the future, if I'm more financially stable, I'm going to, inshallah, start some sort of endeavor where I can start some projects, get people who I know who can fund, and then I'm going to start with slowly masjids and maybe get them to have a pot, and then people support that pot, and that pot is going to be used. Obviously, you have to have fund managers as well, people that you can trust who are going to distribute the wealth correctly, yeah, amongst them, because this is a very, very big problem we have in our community. Okay, anyway, so if you guys want questions asked, then there is this service. I'll show you guys, and I don't know how. I think they answer it within like a day or two or something like that. So this is chat questions service, and these are reliable muftis. Yeah, very, very, mashallah, very reliable muftis. These are that you can ask them. Oh, mashallah, jazakallah khair, Bima Bays, may Allah bless you. May Allah give you shifa kamil in this world and in the akhirah as well, and for your whole family, my brother. MashaAllah. Make dua, guys, for Bima. See the bits. But you know what? This tea is just so nice. Hits the spot, like they say. Hits the spot. Or many spots. Yeah, so like I was saying, I think when it comes to if you're living in the West, you have to understand you are responsible for the deen. Right? If you're living in a Muslim country, you can put a lot of the blame onto the government or community leaders, right? That's understandable. But when you're living in the West, you have decided to live in the West. That's your decision, that is. So you have to understand that if you want your faith to be strengthened, you need to be a contributor. You need to act like an ummah. Maybe I think I need to do like some videos on this, maybe some talks, inshallah. When it comes to the need for scholars, what work needs to be done, like the work needed from scholars. So you need to work, like what you do, brainstorming. So you start off with all the most important things that need to be done in the community by scholars. So the way you work that out is you look at the problems of the community and then you work backwards. So what are the problems in our community? People leaving the faith of Islam. What are another problems? People having doubts about their own faith. Yeah. Losing trust in scholars. Not seeing Islam as a solution for the world's problems. These are like some basic kind of things. LGBTQ, for example, these are some of the issues. So these are a lot of issues. You write them all out and then you look at, okay, how can we tackle these? So for some of these, we might need, for example, mental health in the Muslim community, where people are confusing mental health with like being affected by magic and being affected by, other things. A lot of our Asian communities have that issue. That is another big thing that we need to have. So we look at that. So we might need, for example, like scholars who are experts in financial. It might be a community that has a lot of businessmen in there. And so, that's something which needs to be tackled as well. So scholars who are focused on that. There might need to be maybe some scholars or doctors in the community. I know some masjids where predominantly a lot of doctors go there, not doctors and nurses. So that might require some. There might be a masjid where there might be a lot of cases of single parents, and then you need counselors, people who can counsel them, like chaplains, or you need maybe mental health workers, Muslim mental health workers that come there once a week, and they can have a free clinic. People can come and just talk. People are more comfortable speaking with Muslims. So I think that, see, this is just in my head, but obviously if people got together and they fleshed all the problems out, I'm sure you guys have wonderful ideas in your heads of how you can have like some masjids. They need to have sports halls. Some masjids, you don't have to have it inside the masjid. You can have a purpose-built sports hall, or you can have a place where comfortably Muslim women can meet, right? Comfortably, can have a coffee, they can relax. Maybe you can have a place for men as well, where men can chill out as well. So they don't have to be in the masjid, but they can be built adjacent to the masjid, but they can fulfill purpose. They need to be purposeful built. What do you guys think? Please let me know. Be from the first you need when you have your project's ideas. You know me, akhi, and inshallah, my brother. I know you. You are there always, my brother. Bima, may Allah bless you. Muhammad Prairie, ahlan wa sahlan, ahlan wa sahlan, ahlan wa sahlan, my brother. Kaif? How to avoid children that could be fighting about parents? How to deal with this? I have no idea. I don't have children, so I don't know. Abeen, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ahlan wa sahlan. MashaAllah, with your tea. How do you make your tea? Which tea? This is tea from, MashaAllah, my brother Sufyan has sent this tea to me, and he actually got it from Turkey. Turkey. Yeah, and this is a really nice tea. Like, I haven't had this for a while. It's very herby kind of tea. Like, it's like nice. I don't drink it with sugar, so I can taste the tea, like the raw tea. So it's like you can taste like a bit of like cinnamon in there as well. You can taste a slight fruity as well, a little bit of fruity taste in there as well. So it's got these different tones of taste in there. Alhamdulillah, our local masjid has free Shifa clinic. Allah, look at that. Subhanallah. We need these kind of things in our community. Honestly, the vast majority of the Muslim public have very little connection with the deen in their daily life. Like in 24 hours life, what exposure do they have to the deen? So we need to have some sort of like facility for them that helps them. What's needed in the is for people who serve community and advise people to be rooted in true Islam, and as well as hikmah. Failing to do so will result in subversion or the destruction of the community, definitely. And that's where we need, because lots of people are no longer interested in studying full-time anymore. If you got people who are not interested in studying full-time and the numbers are dwindling, right, you're definitely going to get other people popping up, and cowboys popping up and doing strange things, like I said. Make me one of your best when I come, my brother. I will make you, inshallah. Come down to my house and I will make you, inshallah. I will make you or I'll break you. That's my Patan saying this. I will either make you or I'll break you. Look at that, guys. Lovely. Lovely tea you can see in there. I don't know what these red balls are called. Well, anyone know what these are called? I think this is some sort of berry. Dried berries or something. So yeah, so that's been my week, guys. And this book, inshallah, is the new book that I have received, mashallah, in the post. So I'll just show it. It's actually in French, the translation, but I don't need the translation. That's fine. Yeah, the Arabic is sufficient for me. So here it is. You guys can't see, can you? Because let me just try to put this light down. All right, let's see if you guys can see it now. Oh, yes, now you can see it. Yeah. So if you guys can speak French or read French, then bonjour, ça va, très bien, merci, merci. All right, let's put the light back on. Yeah, tomorrow. So tomorrow I have a talk. I have 2 nikahs to go to, two walimas to go to tomorrow evening. So inshallah, we'll see how that goes. Yeah, I normally don't like eating in walimas because my routine gets all messed up. But inshallah, I will see how that goes. Inshallah. By the way, how do we understand differences of opinions in kalam? Sometimes I see minor issues or disagreements or bad arguments, so it feels like there is shubha, even though the base aqidah is qad'i. Yes, I think a lot of this is all based upon what kind of ikhtilaf is it. But generally, it's about having a good teacher. If you have a good teacher, the good teacher can clear up doubts very easily, because sometimes what happens, the doubts come when you only see a small, like imagine there's a TV screen and you only see a little fraction of that TV screen. So you can't make out the rest of it. So what your teacher does is elaborates for you what the rest of the screen is showing. If you have a good teacher who's good at that, a lot of shubhas are just easily cleared up just simply by them elaborating it for you. Otherwise, it could simply just be a matter of case to case by case. If you if you get 3 or 4, maybe a handful of masail that are cleared up for you, the other ones you can work out yourself. What is the product tea? Tea is something that you drink. Can a menstruating woman use gloves to hold the Quran? No. So according to majority of the Hanafis, some Hanafis allow it. Majority of the Hanafis know. What you can do is you can have, for example, like a cloth which is separate, and you hold it with that cloth. So you have this, let's say, I don't know, I don't have a cloth over here, but let's say, for example, I had a cloth. I could simply just hold it with a cloth, as long as that cloth is not attached to my body. Some of the Hanafis do allow. They say if you've got gloves on of some sort, you hold it, then it's fine. What's the ruling of ghusl and wudu when a sister has to wear menopause patches for 2 weeks continuously? There are no alternatives. Yes, then it's fine. Then she can consider it as a medical reason, and then she carries on doing her wudu and ghusl. She doesn't have to take it off. What do you think of scholars who finish from alim course and go on to something completely different? I guess a reason could be I know a lot of people are like that, but the thing is, it's sad situation is a lot of it goes down to financial problems, because we live in the West and things are not cheap, and it's very difficult to be able to survive, especially if you're married to a woman and you've got children as well. They might not have the same level of tawakkul as you do, and you got bills to pay as well and other things. So that's why I would say there needs to be something for them. There needs to be a structure set up for them to actually support them big time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ahlan wa sahlan, Muhammad Mullah. Is the book Ayyuhal Walad? No, this is book. It's actually called Mawa'idh al-Hasana, Mawa'idh fil Hadith al-Qudsiyah. It's not really Hadith Qudsi, but it's kind of like, you can almost say like the morals. Yeah, like you can say it's like he's collected the morals of Islam. Your students walima? Yes, both of my, well, yeah, kind of. Well, one is my students and one is my students' brothers walima. Yeah, so it's like that kind of thing. So once you get to kind of know people invite you to walimas. I like going to walimas mainly to meet people. Like, you haven't met someone for a very long time, you get to meet them. Otherwise, besides that, I'm not too fond of going to walimas. It takes a lot of time in the day, and then the food a lot of times doesn't really kind of go down well with me. May Allah bless you for help me by mercy of Allah. I can now read the Quran. Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah, Abeen. May Allah bless you and your family. Jazakumullah khair for your kind, lovely du'as. Ameen. I remember you saying you don't like to attend random people's nikahs. Yeah, I don't like to attend random nikahs. But I've got actually one of my relatives' sons is doing hifz tomorrow. He's completing his hifz, mashallah. So I'm invited to give a talk there. So that's going to be nice. I'm going to meet a lot of my relatives there. Loads of them, Pathans, loads of Pathans there. So it's going to be good, inshallah. So I'll enjoy that. So tomorrow's a meeting day, right? So loads of people meeting, inshallah. Usually, I noticed this in myself. If I'm going to meet a lot of people in the day, the night before, I actually see a dream about that. Strange, weird. Like in the dream, I'm kind of meeting people. Maybe it's psychological, like I'm already. But sometimes I don't even know I'm going to meet people, and the next I'll see a dream about meeting people. Yeah, and I kind of figure out. So like, yeah, I see that quite often. I don't know. Do you guys experience that? Right. Salam Ustad, please see my question above regarding advice for students. Your question, where was your question, my brother? I can't see your question. I can't see the seam. If you can send it again. You can send it again, inshallah, because I can't seem to see above here. Wa alaikum assalam, Hassan. Ahlan wa sahlan. Hassan, what wudu socks do you use? Okay, guys. So I tested out some wudu socks here. I tested about 3 or 4 types. I actually bought them. Um, so what I would say is I like Dex Shell. Dex Shell are probably so wudu socks that I found come in. There's 2 types of wudu socks that you find. The first type is basically the material is a very thick material. It's just one material, one layer, and it's very thick. I don't really like those that much. They're good, but one of the problem is they can get a bit hot. And the second is that on your sole of your foot, when you're walking the hard ground, it can like have a sort of like a hard feeling, like you can feel it, you can feel the fibers sort of like touching against you. So that doesn't really kind of it's good. I mean, it works. So they're usually the cheap ones. And then the deck shell ones are have 2 layers. So they have an outer layer and an inner layer, and in between the two, they have this kind of like membrane in between. And those are very comfortable. They're very nice, especially if you wash them once or twice, then they become very nicely fitting. I actually got them on now. Yeah, those are very nice. What I'll do, in fact, is maybe so tomorrow I might not be able to live stream. That's the thing, yeah, because so I might do live stream on Sunday. Okay, guys, just keep a note of that. I'll put announcement up tomorrow if I can't make it. Most likely I won't be able to make it because of the meetings tomorrow or the events. So Dexshell are to me are the best. They're a bit expensive. There's a nice website I found. I think it's on eBay. I think I found someone selling some good ones. Or it's a website rather. I found selling some good ones, and they're about 20. I think they're selling them for about £25. Unfortunately, a little bit expensive. I actually bought some a couple of weeks ago. So I'm gonna buy some more of those because those are good. And the other good thing about these ones are like you can wear them for several days and they don't smell. They don't have that kind of odor because they're designed. So you can wear them for like 2 or 3 days and they won't have a smell. Only thing is when you wash them, you have to be careful how you wash them. Wash them by hand, right? For that. So I would say definitely those are the ones that I'm actually going to be investing more in. And if I find some other ones, I'll buy them, and then I'll tell you guys what they like. Yeah, because end of the day, I want you guys to be able to not have to go through all of this testing. Yeah, because I'm the guy that has studied, and I'm the guy that knows which material is going to qualify for wiping over. Yeah. So as long as generally the rule is this, as long as they are thick enough for you to know that you could walk in them for miles and they won't tear easily, then that is the general criteria for them. Okay, Zaidnisa, wa alaikum salam. Is it authentic that du'as are accepted during your first glance at the Kaaba? Yes, there are some like narrations regarding that, even though the authenticity isn't that strong. But it's a practice of the Salaf. Yeah, so it's a practice of Salaf. So therefore, we can assume safely that this is considered to be something where people assume that it was accepted. Right. Simply miswak. Wa alaikum assalam. What is a mudabbara? It's mentioned in Usul al-Shaykh. So mudabbara is basically, or mudabbar is a slave. A person has a slave, and then let's say, for example, they attach the freedom of that slave to an event. So that they say, if I die, you're free. That slave now becomes a mudabbara, and the slave will go free after the demise of the owner. Shaykh, can you go to grave? Okay, Allah knows. Member Ali, what advice would you give to students in balancing the studies and general life commitments? Can be difficult. Yeah, 100%. I would say. Look, so what I would say is this: whenever you study or anything that you do in life, you always have to remember the priorities of your life have to be focused on the most. So what you need to do: get a piece of paper, get a pen, draw a line, write down studying, and write down your life, and write down the most important things that you have to do. So, for example, studying, you need to attend class. Number one, write that attend class. Okay, number two is revise, go over your work. So those are the 2 things that you have to focus on. Everything else besides that regarding studying might not be that important, like some extra reading you want to do or anything like that. Your family, then you write down your family. Okay, what do you have to do in your other life? So if you've got like family commitments, okay, write those down. So I have to sit with my family, every day for a couple of hours, or maybe I have to go visit relatives, or maybe I've got to go work. Work is important to me. So you write down the most important things, and then you schedule your day around those. And you say, okay, I'm going to focus on these. And then your secondary things regarding knowledge, you write those down in a different color, right? Now, what you do is when you psychologically, when you kind of know, okay, on this day I've got to do this, on this day I've got to do this, your day becomes so organized that you'll be able to balance everything. So everyone sees you as being a person who has balanced their life. That's the hardest thing to be able to strike that balance in such a way that you're able to juggle both at the same time nicely. It's a very hard thing. Yeah, because you know, unfortunately, I used to focus too much on studying. Sometimes my relatives used to even tell me off and say, "Look, you're not a very social person. You don't kind of come to events and things like that." But then for me, they kind of understood later on. This is what he's like. Abdul Wadud, wa alaikum salam. To keep the order of prayer, what does one have to do if a person has not prayed Fajr and runs to the masjid for Jummah and finds Imam in ruku? So just do Jummah. Then what you do is you do your Fajr qada and then you pray Dhuhr after that. Does that make sense, Member Ali? S. Khan, do you think the destruction of Iraq and Syria has contributed to the problems of not enough ulama? Lots of Brits went to Syria to study. Definitely. I mean, there's lots of things like 9/11, I think, was the biggest thing that had a big impact. Yeah, big impact. But Alhamdulillah, the thing you have to remember is people like scholars go decreasing. That's always been in history where there's been wars and things that have resulted in that. But the biggest thing that has resulted in scholars' numbers decreasing, I think, is capitalism. Capitalism has had a massive impact on so many things. So this is why it's very important. It's not just one problem; it's a multitude of problems. Yeah, like for example, now, how much do you need to earn? How much do you need to have a life that are satisfied with? How much you need to earn? If you ask nearly everyone, most of them will say to you, um, you know, I'm not earning enough. I can't. So that's one of the problems. And then once you earn, where do you spend it? So some people will earn and they'll spend on their life in such a way that they won't get time to do anything else. So it's that kind of like balancing. I think capitalism is the biggest thing. And because capitalism is destroying culture, the culture of studying is being eroded now. There used to be this big culture in society where communities used to make their kids hafiz, not because they were eagerly wanted their children to become hafiz, but it was simply just because the community was a community thing. You send your kid to become a hafiz. And I think that is dying out now, unfortunately, in our communities. Sending kids to become alims, kids having this thirst to become an alim when they grow up. Right now, they've got other role models out there. So the culture is being eroded. So I think those are two things. Capitalism, I would say, which is the main contributor. And then secondly, it would definitely have to be the erosion of, as a result, the erosion of sound cultures. Okay, Mufti, can you wear thin ankle socks underneath the khufs to help with the sweat? Yes, you can. May Allah bless you, Hassan. Fresh Prince, ما هو مقياس الجورب الذي ترتديه؟ مقياسي يعني قدمي، مقياس قدمي 8، أحيانا 9، يعني حسب اختلاف الأحذية، لكن عادة يعني 8 يكفيني. Would you be able to give a checklist of knowledge someone should know to be a thoroughly knowledgeable, confident Muslim? Maybe half. Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, I can do that actually. So, that's a good one. What makes a person a thoroughly knowledgeable non-alim? Yeah, a thoroughly knowledgeable non-alim. Yeah, so I've written down alim, wrote down slim. You're kind of like saying alim, you gotta become slim. Yeah. I would. Okay, so if I was to give you in a nutshell, let me tell you. What do you need to know about Islam is basically what do you need to know to worship Allah correctly? Like what do you need to know? So you need to know definitely your faraid. So your faraid have to be done. Learn your faraid. That's the first and foremost thing. The second thing you need to know is depending on the society that you're living in, what are the challenges of that society which you need to be equipped for? So if you're living in a society, for example, like in, I don't know, Bangladesh, Pakistan, India, Africa, in a place where there isn't that much of a problem of LGBT or these kind of issues, you won't really need to know too much about this. Should be aware of it, but not need to know too much about how to break it down, dismantle it. If you're living in the West, I think everyone needs to know now. Everyone needs to know about LGBT about harms of liberalism. Yeah, these kind of things I think need to be taught. These are like preventative measures, just like you need to be taught about how knives can be harmful. You need to be taught about these kind of things. So I think that is okay. So those are two things I think that need to be understood: the faraid and then the challenges of your community. So I would say a person does not have to learn Arabic. Average person needs to know the whole Quran, has to at least gone through the whole Quran and roughly know what each surah is about. I think that is a must for Muslims. Once you've grasped that, once you've understood that, every person who I've seen who has gone through the entire Quran, even if they don't know Arabic, they have a very good, you can say, like understanding of what's their purpose in life. Yeah, because that's the power of the Quran, isn't it? We underestimate the power of the Quran. We think we need to study everything else but the Quran. The reality is every Muslim needs the Quran, just like the Sahaba needed the Quran. We need the Quran as well. There's no shak about that. There's no doubt at all. So I think those are the most important things for for anyone out there. Quran, Quran, Quran. Yeah. So I think these three, I would say these three things for the average person. Yeah. Um, so Faraid, yeah, the Fard Ain, the challenges of the community, which can be different, and then Quran. Everyone needs to know, learn about the Quran. There needs to be an active push, projects in every masjid to push like translation of the Quran, going through the dars of the Quran, in maktabs as well. Yeah, there needs to be something there. Even if they don't go through the Quran, at least have like lessons where the khulasa of the surahs are explained. Allah alam. I mean, that's my thoughts. What do you think, Askan? Hassan, do you not feel that if one wants to reach a high level in any field, they will have to sacrifice certain things like social? Yeah, definitely. There has to be. It's with anything in life. If you want to become the richest person in life, yeah, you must sacrifice for the pursuit of wealth. You must sacrifice things. You're welcome. Abin, if I'm done with my periods at Fajr time and I pray, then I again see some blood at Isha, will my previous prayers be considered? So it all depends upon how long the bleeding has occurred for. So if the bleeding has gone beyond 10 days, then it would be fine. It would just be considered to be, you know, istihada, abnormal bleeding. But if it's not, if it's still within 10 days, so the bleeding is still occurring within 10 days, then that means that salat would not be considered. Right. So you didn't have to pray those salats because you were still in the state of menstruation. Does that make sense? Mehmet Jazakallah Khair, tends to be those outside immediate family who find it difficult to understand your commitments to studies. Yeah, 100%. I understand that. 100%. A lot of people don't. And the strange thing is, they understand if you are becoming a medical doctor that you don't have time. They'll understand that. They'll say, oh, where is he? Oh, you know what? He's revising for his exams. He's got his studies. He's got to do his reading. They'll understand all of that because they know the value of that. But they don't know the value. They see learning Islam as a hobby. That's what they see as. Honestly, that's what they see as. It's like someone learning golf or someone learning, pottery or art. They just see it as a hobby. Like they don't have to do it. They think, oh, they don't have to do it. It's just their own. They want to fulfill their own shok. It's not about fulfilling their own shok. It's an obligation in the community. There has to be, in the Quran, Allah says, every community has to have a small group of people who learn the deen. Yeah. And exactly, remember, bang on what you said. Is Alim course enrollment decreasing? Definitely, it is decreasing year by year, sadly. Yeah, it's dwindling away. How fluent was your reading of Quran before you started your Alim studies? I could read Quran, like it wasn't too bad. I could read Quran, but without tajweed. So I didn't have tajweed. I didn't learn, properly. Yeah. What's your dua maqbool? ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. Yeah, so guys, remember I was telling you guys about the dua course on the 11th of March, inshallah. So I've been preparing a lot of notes on this, and mashallah, I've come across such nice gems regarding the duas in the time of the Prophet ﷺ and people he made duas for. In fact, I've actually found 3 Sahaba who the Prophet ﷺ made dua for them. Like it was a dua which was to do with like giving them long life and beauty and not aging, and they actually didn't have any hair or very 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 little hair when they became old. So one guy his 90s. Yeah, in his 90s. He was in his 90s, and some say he had no white hair, and some say he had a few strands of white hair. Yeah, so these are like some interesting du'as the Prophet ﷺ made. And I think the most interesting thing I found is the Prophet ﷺ, he knew these people are going to do the khidmah of deen. So in order to enhance them, he made du'as for them, special du'as for them. And that's what a true leader does. A true leader, he doesn't just expect the person that he doesn't expect his men and women to just pull up their socks and do all the hard work. He he motivates them. He makes dua for them to Allah. He knows that they're weak and they need support, and he makes dua to Allah to strengthen them. And this is, I think, another important thing about duas, which is it kind of like enhances a person's capability, like makes them, you can almost say, like superhuman. Yeah, in that sense. Okay, I thought alim course enrollment was increasing in England. Yeah, that's see the. So I'll tell you what the other problem is. This is the sad reality. So if you look at the madrasas, the madrasas will have, like, the madrasas popping up everywhere. But the problem is they will only have a handful of students. Like Bukhari Khatams will have 2 people in there, 3 people in there, 4 people in there. Yeah, and this is a big problem because that means that, where's everyone else going? The second thing is, unfortunately, a lot of places that are studying or have opened up, the level of education is very, very bad. Like their level of education is basically like a Fard Ain course, glorified Fard Ain course. I don't want to say, I don't want to be rude or anything, but it's glorified Fard Ain course. Someone can be in Bukhari and not be able to read Arabic. Imagine that. So that's why it's not as straightforward as that. There's less, but it's the quality is dropping as well. Definitely the numbers are dropping because I'm in charge of what's it, studies, and I can see this as well. Year in year, I see the numbers are dwindling. People are dropping out. People are not, and there's other things out there now. So people are like now satisfied with just watching social media, learning things, little bit sound bites here and there, and then there's like a lot of other extra intensive courses that people are just going on and thinking, this is enough for me. I don't need to do anything else. Yeah, so it is definitely. We have a lot of unfortunate. I would really like someone to do like a thorough survey of all the madrasas in the UK, like how many intakes they have, how many they have left at the end of the year or end of the course, what the quality of the education is, like have some sort of standard, and then we can have facts and figures to see what is really happening. Yeah, but from my own observations, it is dropping, and I've spoken to a lot of people. Dewsbury, the number of students is dropping. Bury is dropping. Blackburn is dropping. It's everywhere. The numbers are dropping. Alhamdulillah, I really was in need of the answer. Jazakallah khair. You're welcome. Ameen. Jazakallah khair. Amen. Ameen. Ameen. Allah bless you. Jazakallah khair, Eskhan. That's a really good perspective. Societal issues are a big problem because what is the point on knowledge if you can't improve society around you? Yeah, definitely. And that is a big thing that people begin to ignore about madrasas. Even like people who are in charge of madrasas, they don't see that you need to equip someone, because if you're teaching them all knowledge and they can't communicate that knowledge to the public, then it's like basically kind of like, imagine you were kind of like you made a mechanic that could fix a car that was made 100 years ago. You produce him, and he can't fix today's cars. It's exactly the same. You have a whole university that teaches someone exactly how the car that was in the 1800s or 1900s, 1800s, how that ran, and he can fix it all properly. But then when he comes in society, he has no idea how to fix a modern car or electric car. Yeah, that is exactly what's happening a lot of madrasas. They're making people that can understand the knowledge of the past, but they don't have the skill, the ability to be able to understand how we're supposed to tackle today's problems. So those are the kind of things which I think 100% need to be resolved. Definitely. What do you think, Ibn Adam? Do you have Aqidah course on your website? I have a basic Aqidah course called Elements of Faith. It's a very, very basic one. It's just based on the Quran. It's based upon the main tenets of faith, the 6 tenets of faith. Yeah, I have that. Standards are dropping and students are being subject to manipulation either by foolish biased teachers or false misguided group sects or by simply barely knowing. You've actually summed it up like in a nutshell, bro. You done a better job than me. Yeah, this is the sad reality of the world that we're living in today, unfortunately. It's kind of like creating inside of us this crazy sort of dilemma. Uh What do you think about growth beard? Alhamdulillah. But how slowly growing. Let it grow, my brother. Let it grow. Take your time. मेरा दिमाग बहुत तेज चलता है अल्लाह अकबर आपका दिमाग फरारी आपका दिमाग फरारी से भी तेज चलता है आपका yeah, remember Imam Ferrari? Remember that one? Imam Ferrari. That was a funny one. That was. I remember when I was in Pakistan and there was tarawih. Sometimes in one mosque there was like 30 tarawihs going on. Yeah, crazy, massive mosques, and you have like groups of people, and some of the tarawihs are so fast, like you couldn't understand what they were saying even. Uh, Wah, wah, kya baat hai. Which Darul Uloom do you think has the highest academic standards in the UK? I don't know, because I haven't really. I mean, I don't want to say a place and then people think that other places don't have. I don't want to be unfair. So this is why. I mean, I know Asufa because I'm partly in charge of what happens over there. So we have a very high standard especially in the full time. Very, very high standard. And I think Mufti Abdurrahman Mangera's place as well has a very high standard as well. I think it's Imam Zakaria. Imam Zakaria's Masjid Imam Zakaria in London. They have very high standards, so I've been told. Besides that, I'm not too sure of the standard wise. Okay, Dalum Uruk. Dal Urum Uruk. Yes, my brother. Yes. One day, inshallah. One day, inshallah. Yeah. I wouldn't like to become in charge of a madrasa in the future. I wouldn't like to. I would just like to teach. Teaching is my thing. Anyway, guys, I am going to finish it there. Jazakumullah khair for all your lovely, kind conversations today and your feedback as well. Alhamdulillah, next week I'm back with all the videos as usual. This week, as I told you, I had a rest. I was focusing purely on my dua course. I've like collected like I think it's about 60 pages of notes. I mean, obviously there's raw notes. They haven't been filtered out and refined. Hopefully, inshallah, I'm going to try to get the notes down to at least about 10 pages, just 2-minute notes for a 5-hour course. And make dua, inshallah, that it goes well. That I got barakah. A lot of times when you're reading notes, there's so much information that you want to put in there, but you don't know what to put in there. That's also another fitna as well. Fitna of making notes. What information do you put in there? What do you not put in there? I might find something that's really unique and interesting, but it might not be something interesting to other people. It might just kind of go over their heads. Yeah, that's the other thing. So anyway, guys, take care, inshallah. I will see you guys next time. Remember, in duas tomorrow, I might not be able to come on, guys. So I'm telling you now. And hopefully, if not, then I'll try to do Sunday. And if I can't, then it's going to have to be next week, inshallah. What's the link for enrollment? Oh, yeah. Let me show you guys the link. Yeah, the power of dua. So the power of dua, as-sufa. This is the link. So the power dua course, 11th March. So that's a dua course, 11th of March, that you guys can enroll for, inshallah. Right. So anyway, take care, guys. And I will see you guys next time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.